So, I'm here with Robin Rice today. And Robin Rice is a master storyteller. She's also a spiritual teacher and a catalyst for social change. Her virtual by design social change projects have garnered attention from major social media in 30 plus countries, including the Today Show, Huffington Post Live, E! Online, and The Shape magazine. Her fiction has been translated into 3 languages, and she serves as a personal mentor to world-level changemakers from political and NGO and entrepreneurial and the arts communities. So Robin, you clearly have a talent for getting things done, right?
I have learned to get things done. Yes, absolutely. And thank you for that. That's very nice.
So how do you get so much done? How do you create so many things?
Well, it's been a system that I've built over time. And I think there's several different pieces of the puzzle for me. It's a whole philosophy, a way of living. One example would be is I've trained myself not to second guess a decision that I feel comfortable with, and to spend absolutely no time on deliberating the pluses and minuses after the decision has been made. I also work on several things at once intentionally, because when one goes through a natural stuck phase, I just go to the other one. I don't think about, oh my God, I'm stuck, I'm in trouble. I just go to the other one. And the other one is going to have something fresh in it. And it's going to, pique my curiosity somewhere. And so I can just jump into that. I don't have so many that I can't get them done. But I have enough that I have some creative wiggle room, if
Okay.
you will. Another thing is there is absolutely no any wiggle room around deadlines. None, zero. So if I
Wow.
have to stay up late at night, it's going to happen, and I don't like doing that. So zero. My hair wasn't completely dry when you and I decided to get together today, and I was like, too bad, my hair is not completely dry, but here we are.
It seems like you're the complete opposite of most people. Most people know what to do, they know how to do it, and they just don't get it done. And they think about their thinking, and they think about what kind of decision and what the impact of that decision will be, and they think if maybe that's a better idea. And even when they're doing the work, including myself, when they're doing the work, they think about other things they should be doing, they want to be doing, they may want to be doing, they shouldn't have done in the past, they should have done in the past, and this morning,
Right,
and
right, right.
it,
Exactly. We all know that chorus that just gets louder and louder.
exactly. So why do you think this is? Why do you think that most people know what to do, even maybe know how to do it, but then still don't get it done? Whatever, if that's a diet, if that's a new project, starting a new business, if that's making a call, an important call, if that's schedule a meeting, whatever it is, why do you think that is?
Well, there are billion-dollar industries built around why that is or what that's about. It's human nature. It's human nature for us to reflect, for us to consider, to want to feel safe. We have so many decisions there are to make. Each decision has something else, impinging upon it. If you are not yet comfortable in who you are, you wonder how you're going to look to other people. There's a whole conversation going on inside of your head, maybe several conversations going on simultaneously at the same time as you're trying to do this thing that you wanted to do. The other thing is that we get into patterns. So we actually train ourselves every time that we say, I'm going to do this, and I don't. We actually train our brain to kick in at a certain point to say, you won't do this. And so we get in the habit of quitting on things, and that habit is so ingrained that if you don't get to that habit, if you don't figure out that habit, then all the other habits, they're just secondary. They're not going to go away. So people haven't been shown. We haven't looked at our brains enough. We haven't looked at how we operate and what we do. We haven't self-hacked enough to know ourselves well enough. And so all of those things put together end up with, we set the same goal that we set the last time and don't really change very much about it. We engage in it the way that we did before. We run into the same roadblocks or different ones, but the same general problem. And we do what we've always done before, which is say, okay, I'm not going to do it then. And that might happen in a nanosecond. It might happen in just this tiny, tiny little space of time, or it might happen in a bigger stretch of time. But one way or the other, we fall into those patterns, and we live those patterns as habits we don't even realize are there.
So it's all interconnected. So essentially, if I want to make an important call and it's on my list for today, and I don't do it, and I say, oh, let me just do it tomorrow, and then tomorrow I see it, I'm like, okay, I can still do it next week. Then I do it next week.
Right.
So the more I keep procrastinating with that, that one thing, the call, it affects everything else in my life as well. Is that right?
Yes, absolutely. How you do anything is how you do everything is one of my favorite sayings. And it's not, completely true, but it's so true that it's worth hacking. It's worth figuring out, how do I do everything? Where do I fall down every time? And that interests me. And when you can figure that out, like one of the things that I figured out early on in my writing career was that I thought I had to have a clean desk and a clean office and a clean house and all the laundry done and all the dishes put away before I could start to write. And then one day I thought, this is never going to be a writing career if that's true. And so I started practicing learning to write on a city park bench, on a bus, on, wherever it was. I was younger at this time. So wherever it was I would practice, and I would practice in a dirty house. And so then I was able to tell my brain, you know what, that's actually not true. You say that, but it's actually not true. So it's no longer an excuse for me. And I've been able to bypass that so that I can write virtually anywhere at any time.
Wow. That's, it's like a chain reaction, and both ways, goes both ways. If you keep procrastinating in one little thing, it affects negatively everything else, or most things of the other parts of life as well. And as soon as you start turning around that situation in one thing, like for you, it was writing anywhere, like just getting comfortable with that, it affects in a chain reaction every other habit as well.
It does, absolutely. Because what it does is it eventually will get to your identity. So your identity is, I'm someone who gets things done, or I'm someone who doesn't get things done. And when you're feeding that identity, when you're, in one direction or another, it's going to get to the point where that identity takes over whatever it is you're planning. And you say, well, I said I was going to do it. It's not that hard. Why can't I do this? And the identity is the one that's saying, you're not the kind of person who follows through and meets deadlines and whatever it is. So if you're not the kind of person who does that, good luck trying to do it.
So it goes sort of, when we start, it goes from I procrastinate to eventually I'm a procrastinator, when you embrace that identity and getting out of it, until you can say, essentially you can say I procrastinate sometimes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly. And then you say, I procrastinate rarely. And then you can say, I'm not really a procrastinator.
Yeah. Yeah,
but this is a big thing to undertake, which is why I created Training Your Inner Warrior, because it takes time to deconstruct and reconstruct, and it takes really knowing how you do what you do. And the beauty of it is that you can stop blaming yourself. You're only doing what you've programmed yourself to do. It doesn't mean, again, identity, I'm a bad person or I'm a lazy person. You see some people who have the most productive lives, and if you ask them, they say, oh, I'm just so lazy. What? What? It's because their identity has somehow latched onto it.
Yeah. Wow. So, in terms of the Inner Warrior program, Training Your Inner Warrior, how did you come to create this program?
It was interesting. It was only about a year and a half ago. And I mean, it really just exploded as far as even my longtime students said, why didn't you ever teach us this? Someone, several someones kept saying, how do you get so much done? And do you ever sleep? I heard that all the time. Do you ever sleep? You're always doing this. And I sleep very, very well. And I have lots of extra time in the day to go sit on the porch and drink lemonade and, whatever it is. So I said, I should probably try to explain this, what I've done, because I've been doing this for so long inside myself. I never took it outside of myself. So in typical Robin fashion, I said, hey, I'm going to teach a course on this. It's going to be 31 days. And who wants it? And I think we had 40 people that just were like jumping in. And then I had to write it. And so I wrote it as I taught it for the first time. And now, of course, it's written. But that was kind of how it came about. Was I just wanted to help people who were feeling exactly like what we just talked about, realize that, you're not a bad person. You're not a lazy person. Your brain's just doing what you've trained it to do, and we can train it to do something else.
Wow. You know, and I'm incredibly grateful that you put this together because, as we record this, about 35 days ago, I started with the program,
Yeah.
and I mean, wow. Every person I talk to now, I share this with, and I always say it's the most powerful personal development program I ever went through. And one of the biggest differences is that it's not a book that I bought and it's in my shelf and I've never actually looked at it, but it's
Yeah.
something that every single morning, every single day of those 31 days, I looked so much forward to the next lesson.
Yeah.
Because you are a master storyteller. That's one thing I
Oh, thank
realized
you.
and I saw in that program. It's so powerful. And I mean, some of the things, one of the things I realized, and I just see now, which is so powerful, it's what we just talked about. I picked a tiny little change, and one of the things I first had to be okay with is like, oh my God, that change is, it's so small. I want to change something much much bigger.
Yeah.
That's one thing I had to be okay with. But I picked a tiny little change. At least I see it as a tiny little change, and the change was essentially every single day of the week, 5 days a week. When my fiance comes home, I run to the door, I hug her, and I lift her up in the air because I want more play and more fun in my life, and I want more play and fun with her.
She must
So,
love that.
and she totally loves it. And I love it. It sets the tone for the entire evening. It's
Yeah.
so powerful, and just that change, um, was so powerful in our relationship as well. It's just there's so much more energy, and that's only one part of it. Now there's so many things that changed in
Yeah.
completely different areas. So first I was like, no, I should pick the business thing, right? I should pick a business
Right.
chain.
Right.
And then I'm like, no, actually I want to pick this. This is the most important thing for me right now. And I can do something in business later. But what happened was this change affected everything. I mean,
Yeah.
it's 31 days. I mean, it's 35 days ago. It's crazy. But a few things that happened. One of the things was that pretty much every single day now over the past 4 weeks, I was able to get my most important work done between 7 a.m. in the morning and 12 o'clock noon. That
Hmm.
doesn't mean I don't have any more work to do. What it means is that I just do the most important work between that time. And I'm good with, sometimes I don't work later and sometimes I do, but only if I want to. And because I do the most important things in that time, I have a lot more space and energy and I feel so much better than, if
Yeah.
I'm it's 6 o'clock in the evening and I go like, oh my God, I should do these other three things that are really important.
Right.
And that was a huge thing. And then another thing was that I stopped spending so much energy on making decisions and thinking about making decisions and thinking about
Right.
making
Right.
decisions,
Right.
and we can go on.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I think people get it. Um,
Yeah.
so what changed is I just make the call now. I just send the email. I just schedule a call in an
Right.
instant. I don't think about it. I just do it.
Exactly.
And I make so much better decisions. The quality of the decisions that I make are so much better.
Yeah.
And I spend almost no energy anymore on making decisions, which before most of my energy was spent on making decisions, at least
Right.
half, which is insane to me now. But that's
Right.
that's that's one big change that happened. So I have all this energy now. I mean, you can probably see it. I'm glowing.
Yeah.
It's,
Right.
it's like I can't sit still anymore, and I have so much more energy because it's now spare energy. I don't need the energy on the thinking about
Right. Exactly.
decisions. And
Right.
one more thing that really changed was I always wanted to do fewer things in my life, especially have fewer priorities. I used to be like, okay, these are my 50 priorities for today. I'm like, no, okay, that's
Right.
50 things I want to do today. These are not priorities. But I always wanted to get down to a few things that I can do every day. And what I decided in the past 4 weeks is that I can do three things every week and I'm good because I know my business keeps growing. I'm happy with everything that I'm doing, and my quality of life is really, really good as well. So, the three things for me are I write 3 blog posts, I connect with 10 powerful people, and I finish one sub project of the next thing I'm creating.
Awesome.
And if I
That's
do
a
that every
really
week,
good one.
and if I do that every week, nothing stands still. Everything advances, and I do the most important things. And these things are they are the biggest driver of my business. They are the biggest driver of my happiness. And
Yes.
they don't require 24 hours a day.
Right.
And if I do that, I'm happy. And that's another really important part. It's not just that I decided to do fewer things, but it's also that I'm okay with doing fewer things. Because before I was like, okay,
Yes.
I want to do less, but I feel bad if I do less. I'm lazy. That was one of the identities, right? I'm lazy if I
Yep.
only do
Yep.
3 things a week. And I was able to wash that identity away, essentially or literally, and it's so powerful. And it's still, once again, it's 31 days. Wow, powerful. And all of
Well,
this, it's incredible.
well, it's interesting too because I mean, I've gotten this feedback from so many people, but I was just on a trip to Ireland, and one of my former students there who took it a year ago, she said, I can't believe it. I still hate going to the gym to exercise, but I have religiously done it 3 times a week since that class, and I never could do that before. So it doesn't just, I mean, yes, there's this, 31 days and you've got this high that goes with it. But there's so many ideas that I just very, very slowly build throughout the 31 days, these tiny little things each day. And I actually don't think the course would work if you just read it, if you read all the
No, I don't
lessons at
think it would
once. I
work.
really don't
No,
think it would work.
no.
You have to take this tiny little bit each day, and you're excited for it, because you're going to learn something about yourself. You're going to go, aha, over and over and over again, right? And I bring in endorphins, and I bring in habits, and there's a little bit of the brain science, which I'm fascinated with, but I bring in just a little bit of that, just enough to show that this isn't totally crazy, but it's story based, so that you can get a grip on it. It's not just theory. There's characters that I go through, the characters in your brain, and I introduce you to these characters as characters, and you can see how they get along and how they don't get along, and how one's job fights with the other one's job, and you really can get a picture of how you operate, which nobody teaches you in life. Nobody teaches you how your brain actually operates in your life. And when you can get in there and be the operator, and you can be the master storyteller, the storyteller is someone who just tells a story, but the master storyteller is the one who writes the story. They're the one who creates the story and decides what's going to be in it. I'm a novelist, so I get to make, stories out of nothing. And so that's kind of what I tried to do with this course. And I mean, I'm so happy for the shifts in you. And there's something that happens, that the thing that you choose, and, as you know, we spent quite a while working on which thing you're going to choose to make sure you weren't in the old choice pattern.
Mm-hmm.
And then the thing that you choose, it seems like one thing, but it opens a door to everything else.
Totally.
Yeah, and I love that you chose that with your girlfriend. That's just beautiful. That makes my heart sing. I'm so glad you didn't choose something in the office.
No, I think also because I also picked this because something. This was something that was most important to me, but at the same time I was like, there's other things that I should be changing and may want to be changing, but I just knew. And I think that's also something the program really helped me to do, is decide on something that I know is most important to me, but I kind of always like, oh, come, once again, going back, I'm going to change that next week. I'm going to do that
Right.
right now it's business time. Okay, let's just, work on that first.
Yeah.
And that was so powerful. So, and because, I mean, I'm just blown away by this, and I share it with everyone, because it's just amazing. So, and because
Really, we're not a cult, I promise. There's nothing weird in it. There's nothing crazy in it. It's just your brain.
No, it's just, yeah, it's amazing. But because I'm so blown away by the changes, by the results that I got in such a short period of time. We're going to do a joint venture launch together on training your inner warrior. So Maybe
Yeah.
let's quickly go into like the logistics of the program just very quickly, and then like where if people are interested, where they can get it. So can you share a little bit about the 31 days, how much time do people need and things like that?
Sure. Sure. So it is 31 days, and you will receive an email in your inbox. But there's also a private, secret Facebook group, and if they come in through yours, so when they sign up, if they sign up and say, there's a question, you're part of Daniel's group, and you say yes, then you'll be put in your special group. So there'll be that are in the same kind of mindset that you are, that get it. And then and you can participate as much or as little as you want in that, but it's really fun to talk to each other. But every morning for 31 days, you'll get a lesson. It'll be in your inbox. You'll go to a website. You'll read it. You'll have a tiny little bit of homework. Homework is really, really small. A couple of days, they're a little bit bigger, but mostly they're really small. And you just do that every day. The sooner you sign up, the sooner I send you what's called your front loading exercise, which is super, 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 super simple. It's ridiculously simple, but it really gets your brain used to something so that it doesn't fight it later. So the longer you have for that, the better. And then at the end, I know you and I are going to also, or at some point, we're going to have a Q&A during it. It'll be live, but we'll also record it so that that's an extra bonus just for being in your group, is that we're going to actually talk and people can ask questions and that sort of thing. And the way to find it is you go to robinrice.com. And then under teaching is training your inner warrior. So you can go there. I don't know. Are you also going to have it up on your website? I didn't see if you were or
so
not.
it will be. It's below that video. When I publish it, it will be below the video. So the link will be right below the video. So people can just click the link and go to the page. Great.
And it's going to be July 1st to July 31st. So I would tell people if you're going to be offline during that time, if you're going on vacation, you're going to be offline, it won't work for you very well. If you just have to make sure you're going to be able to get online, because it's very specifically designed for your success. It's designed so that if you do it, your success is built in. And like I said, it's all easy stuff. It's stuff that's so easy, like you said, that you think, how can this work? But then you just do those things. So 31 days, about a half an hour a day. But I will tell you, it will kind of carry through your day. You'll be thinking about it in the back of your mind throughout the day, and that's kind of the psychoactivation part that's so cool.
That's something that I was amazed at as well. So many times, especially also when I work with my coach or other people, they say, okay, just for that week, just be aware of this. And I'm like, I'm a practical guy. How am I aware of this? How do I put that on my to-do list? Right?
Yes.
And you are such a master at creating these triggers that, and I sense that throughout the day, I kept thinking about it every single time, because of that little trigger that you create every single day in the beginning of the lesson. Every time it triggers the whole day, the entire day. And it's like, I always tell people, it's like doing the work without knowing you do the work. It's so powerful.
Exactly. Which is the best way, because isn't that where our habits are working? Totally. Our habits are working where we can't get at them.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally. So
I'm excited. I'm very excited to do this with you. It felt like I've never done it with someone else in this way, and it just felt like you were exactly the right person I wanted to do it with. So I'm very excited about that.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to do this with you, Robin. And just last mention. If you sign up below in the program, make sure you type in at the end where it says, "Are you in Daniel's group?" Just say yes, so you get the access to the free bonus of the 1 hour Q&A call with Robin. This is very important. So you have to type in yes at the end when you sign up.
And that they also, I think, very valuable is that they get to be in the class with you while you take it again, because you're going to take it again.
Hell yeah!
And you'll be in there. You'll be in there commenting, and you're one of the best encouragers out there. So they get you for that time too, which I think is just I got to plug that.
Thank you. Totally. I will be in there. I will be doing it again with a different change. And wow, I can't wait. As soon as the 31 days finished, I emailed you and I said, what do I do now? Can I do it again? because it's just so
Exactly.
powerful. So awesome. Thank you, Robin, for sharing this. I think, people
Thank
got a
you.
lot of value from this, and, if they're interested, they can sign up. If not, that's cool. But I think, even just the conversation today was so powerful. Thank you for being here, Robin, with us, and thank you for launching the program again. It's amazing. Thank you so much for creating it.
Thank you. I'm excited.
All right. Have fun, Robin. Thank you so much.
All righty.
Bye.